Jessica Brigden of JessBCreativeCardiology, and today I have got a super fun little gift box for you today. It is a luggage style, like a little suitcase, and it's adorable because it fits those little mini bottles. So whether you're talking a little like mini bottles of limoncello, in this case I'm doing little mini bottles of olive oil, whatever comes in a little mini bottle of your choice, this is the perfect little gift box for it. It's super sturdy, and you can decorate it in whatever style papers of your choice. So today I'm using Stampin' Up's Mediterranean Blooms because I am preparing for a crafters getaway day, actually tomorrow. And this is one of the little gifts that I am preparing for tomorrow. So I use Stampin' Up's Mediterranean Blooms. The little tag here is from a new set called Bright Borders, and it has a coordinating punch. Love that. And yeah, all kinds of cool stuff. So I can't wait to show you how to make this. All right, fun little gift box here. Perfect for a little travel themed party or getaway if you need favors. A little gift box for a travel enthusiast. You'll love this. All right, so let me flip the camera and we'll get started. Okay, so let me know if you are tuning in here. All right, so I do want to show you here the collection of products that I am using. All right, so the lemony citrus papers here are from Stampin' Up's Mediterranean Blooms collection, which is the theme of my crafters getaway day tomorrow. But I love you've got all the gorgeous blues, Night of Navy, boho blue, balmy blue. We've got all shades of green too, mossy meadow, garden green, old olive, and then of course our yellows, daffodil delight, lemon lolly, and we've got some pumpkin pie and all kinds of fun colors in here, which is perfect for our little travel themed gift box. So what I want to share to you today is a way to do this with our standard 8.5 by 11 papers. All right, so you are going to need 2 sheets of cardstock, 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and then 1 sheet of designer series paper, or it doesn't have to be double-sided, but that's the beauty of Stampin' Up's papers is that they are. And so your sheet of paper, patterned paper, is 4.5 by 10.5. All right, so a few of the other tutorials I've seen out there creating similar projects were from European crafters, which was great. So this is what I based my model on, but I wanted to make sure that I gave you the measurements here in inches, working with standard 8.5 by 11 cardstock to show you how you could make this quickly. Well, it is a little bit time intensive, so I'm not going to say quickly, but I am going to hopefully show you so that it is as easy as possible. Okay, so like I said, you need 2 sheets of cardstock. For today's project, I am using garden green. All right, and because we are making a lot of score lines, I prefer to use my scoreboard. All right, this is the large scoreboard. It's 12.5 by 12.5, comes with the stylus in there. This is from Stampin' Up. And when you're working with doing a lot of scoring, I find this really helpful because it's got grooves for every 1/8 of an inch all the way down it. So this is what I'm going to be doing for a lot of my scoring. Just to start off, we are going to do just a quick trim because our base for the box is not quite 11. So what I did, it's the full 8.5. All right, so we're not making any adjustments there, but we are going to shave just a little bit off of the bottom. Okay, and I already did this on here, but I want to just show you. All right, so we're going to set it up at 10 and 1/8. All right, so you are trimming. You're trimming this extra little bit off the side, and we're going to use this strip that you have left over, we are going to use this to create the handle for our gift box. So this is really minimal waste on here, okay? So that's the first thing, is take your 8.5 by 11 and trim on the 11-inch side, trim that down to 10 and 1/8, okay? So that's the first thing, 8.5 by 10 and 1/8. Okay, now we're gonna grab this scoreboard. All right, and you can already see I've pre-scored it just to kind of help myself out here a little bit. But essentially the measurements are pretty easy. There's really only two you need to remember. And that is, if we're gonna do here on the long side first, the first measurement is 1 3/8. So I am using, my stylus has both a thick and littler, finer tip. I am going to use that finer tip because Stampin' Up's cardstock is pretty sturdy. If you were using designer paper, something that's thinner, you would definitely want to use the larger tip so you don't make as deep an indentation. But with the cardstock, I want to make this pretty deep. So our first score is at 1 3/8, and we're going all the way down. All right, our second score is at 2 3/4. All right, those are pretty much the measurements that you need to remember for the bottom, 1 3/8 and 2 3/4. Because essentially, I mean, I can tell you the next measurement here is at 7 3/8, and the fourth is at 8 3/4. But honestly, if it's easiest to remember, just do 1 3/8, 2 3/4, and then rotate it and do 1 3/8 and 2 3/4 from the other side, okay? Then rotate it for the short side on top. All right, you're gonna do the same measurements, 1 3/8 and 2 3/4, okay? And again, you could rotate and do 1 3/8 and 2 3/4. If you wanna keep it like this, the next one is at 5 3/4 and 7 1/8, okay? So we have 2 sets of score lines all the way around. That creates this grid that you see here, okay? And the next part with this really is to grab your scissors. So what we are going to do is we are going to snip out these excess pieces, and we are going to create something that looks like this, okay? We're gonna trim this down so that we have a box. It is a little rectangle box, and I've already put some tear and tape on here, but it folds all up. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start here at the bottom, all right, and we're going to snip. Okay, snip up to the first line, to the first intersection there on either side, okay? And then we're snipping out those last two, okay? And you're doing that. So this is what we're gonna end up with, doing that on each end here. Okay, oop, there we go. Okay, so that's the first cut, is snipping that out for the bottom. That gives us this, okay? Now for our tabs, we're going to snip out, and then we're gonna go up to the second to create that tab here, okay? So you're gonna do that on each side. Okay, so there's one end. You're gonna do that exact same thing to the opposite end, okay? Come in the center, go up to that first line, okay? And then cut off the 2 squares to the right and the 2 squares to the left. Okay? Then to create the tab, we're snipping off the 1 square to the right and then cutting in 2. And then to the left, snipping off the 1 and cutting in 2. Okay, so that gives us exactly what we need. That was, okay, that wasn't too hard. We made the grid lines all the way around, and then we end up with this. Okay, and that looks, you might say it looks a little funny. Well, what I'm going to do in order to make the box all fold nicely, we're going to eliminate some of the excess paper on the tabs. So what we're gonna do is all the way around, we're going to snip at an angle right up to that line, okay? There's not any particular measurement. It just makes it easier to fold. And you're gonna do that on every single piece, okay? Including the tabs here. So work all the way around and then snip at an angle right up to that intersection, okay? So a good pair of paper snips is handy for this, okay? And then just keep rotating as you go all the way around. And the reason I'm taking the time to show you this too is because this is the bottom of the box. The top of the box has slightly different measurements, but the concept is the same. You're going to make the same shape with the top portion of the box, okay? So there we go. We've gone all the way around. We've trimmed off some of that extra cardstock. Okay, and now we look like this. So with scoring here, this is the side we scored on. So we're gonna put a little bit of tear and tape. All right, that is the adhesive of choice for this project. You could work with, if you've got the stamp, but not the Stamp and Seal, the Seal Plus, right? Because when you're making a gift box, it's meant to be handled. You want to make sure you're using a super sturdy adhesive. So I'm using tear and tape, and we're putting a little bit on each of these 4 tabs. All right, so we're just going on each of these, okay? And then we're gonna flip it over, okay? And we're going to put a little adhesive now on what's going to be each side. This is going to secure the box into place, okay? Each of those sides. Like I said, this is a super sturdy gift box, okay? And I'm making an insert so that it will snugly fit any of those little mini bottles, whether it's a little mini bottle of your favorite cocktail, your favorite shot. Even I found these adorable little mini bottles of olive oil on Amazon. And so I'm gonna pair those because I have a Mediterranean theme. I'm pairing those with some little limoncello candies. All right, so that's what's going to go in my box. I wanted to do little mini bottles of limoncello, but my liquor store didn't have them, and to order them from a discount store online was going to cost me a fortune in shipping. So we're going with olive oil for today's project, but use your imagination and you can determine what you would like to fit in here, okay? So what we're going to do now, I'm gonna flip this back over and we're gonna score, just score on all of those folds. All right, just go all the way around it, burnish, or just fold on all of those score lines here. Just quickly go all the way around. Okay, just rotate it as you go. All right, and you can see how the box is starting to take shape. So those smaller ends are going to fold in. The tab is going to fold over the sides, okay? And then we'll fold the ends down, okay? Like I said, super sturdy. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to remove the tape from, we're going to remove the backing from the tear tape. I'm using the spatula end of my Take Your Pick tool here. This works great, especially if you got short fingernails like myself, or if you have a nice manicure that you'd like to preserve. This really does save your fingernails, and it's so much easier. Okay, so go ahead and remove all of the tape here. Oops, I got under that one, so there we go. Okay, let me know if you've made a little gift box like that or what you would gift inside. What would be your choice? I think this is perfect little gift for like a travel enthusiast, or even it could be, you could make this definitely instead of a suitcase or luggage, you could make it a briefcase. That would be super cute too for the men in your life, all right, or the business person. Okay, so we're gonna take these tabs first and we're gonna do one long side at a time. So attach that little tab, fold up the long side, all right, and just make sure that your corner meets nice and flush there. Okay, gonna do the same thing on that end. Again, fold in that little tab, fold up the long side. Hi, Carmen, how are you? Good to see you on here. All right, and then, so we've got one side. Okay, we've got those tabs in here. Now we're gonna fold that end over. Okay, so we've got one side done. Now we're gonna do the other side. Again, attach the little tabs there to the long side. Okay, little tab to the long side. And then you fold this over. Okay, pinch it nice and tight. And then the small ends, just fold right in and secure, okay? You can even use your bone folder, okay? Get in there nice and snug. All right, burnish that. Make sure that adhesive transfers. Okay, and then we have a super sturdy, this is the box. Okay, this is super sturdy and it's 1 3/8 inches tall. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part, all right, the top, follows the same format, but it's a little bit smaller, okay? So for the top, again, I'll bring my trimmer in. Okay, so for the top, again, we're using the second sheet of 8.5 by 11, but we're going to trim on the short side. We don't want it quite at the 8.5. We're gonna trim it up just a smidge. Okay, we're gonna trim it at 8 3/8. So we're trimming just a sliver. That's all it really is, just one of those fine little sliver. Okay, so that's 8 3/8. And then on the long side, this is going to be 9 5/8. Okay, so 8 3/8 by 9 5/8. Okay, and so I had already done that. Okay, so 8 3/8 by 9 5/8. And then we're gonna do that same thing. We're going to score on all 4 sides. Okay, so on the long side here, all right, get this one ready. On the long side, we are scoring at 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and 2 1/2. Okay, so those are the two measurements you need to remember: 1 1/4 and 2 1/2, and then just rotate. Okay, all the way around. 1 1/4, 2 1/2, rotate. 1 1/4, 2 1/2. All right, until you've got all 4 sides done at 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. All right, that's as easy as it comes. That's all you need to do. Okay. All right, and then that's it for the scoring. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna follow that exact same thing. All right, we're gonna trim out this middle section at the bottom. Okay, and then trim out 2 squares to the right, 2 squares to the left. Okay, then for our tabs, trim off 1 square to the right and cut in 2. Okay, same thing on the left, trim off 1 square to the left and cut in 2. Okay, so that creates our tabs. Okay, this is the long side, so we're good there. Okay, so we're gonna do that same thing up here. Just trimming this off, create our tab and the end. Cut in two. Okay, you notice I was a little rough with that, okay? Because then we're gonna go in and trim those angles. Okay, again, all of this is going to be folded in. So if your edges are a little rough, that's okay, nobody's gonna see that part, okay? The main thing is that you got your score lines correct, okay? That's all that matters. And I did find using a cardstock for this works best. Again, you want you want your box to be sturdy so that it will hold whatever it is you're gifting, as well as hold up to the handling, right? Okay, so again, just trim off a little excess, helps everything fold in so much easier. Okay, all right, so I got all of that. Okay, so again, I've got a little bit of adhesive. I already started putting my tear and tape on. So on the one side, we put the tear and tape on the 4 sides of the box. Okay, so I've already done that. So you've got it at the top and bottom and sides, okay? And on the other side, we put a little dab of adhesive, tear and tape here on each of the 4 tabs. Okay. Oh, that worked out good. I have exactly 4 there. Okay. Now, all right, scrape away all your excess. Okay, now we are going to, again, we're gonna fold on all of those score lines, okay? If you used a nice deep score, that's why I like the score board. You're welcome to use the trimmer with the score blade, all right, but you are gonna have to press a little bit firmer to get a nice deep score on the cardstock. All right, remove the tear and tape backing here from all sides and the tabs. Okay, so we're just about done with the top here. All right, once we've got all of those backings removed, then we can fold this up nicely together. Okay. Okay, so take your tab, attach it to the long side. Okay, make sure you're nice and square on the corner. Do one and then the other. Okay, and then fold that long side down over those tabs. Okay, use your bone folder. Nice and secure. Okay, then come to the other long side, do your tabs. Okay, and then fold the edge over and burnish. Okay, and then fold in your ends. Okay, so the directions for the top and the bottom exactly the same. Just the top just a little bit smaller. Okay. All right, it's not, you can see that the top is not quite as deep. So the bottom is deeper, all right, and the top is a little bit shallower, okay, so that they fit nicely together, okay. All right, so I got nice fit here. All right, they're not gonna fall apart, okay. Now, the next part, Okay, make sure we got, okay, the bottom. Bottom is on the left, top is on the right, okay? The next thing we need, so you're welcome, you can create your gift box like that if you're putting little note cards or trinkets, something like that. But if you are going to put little mini bottles of something in here, then you do need to create an insert, something to keep this from, because otherwise you don't want it to jostle all around, okay? You want a nice little insert to keep it all nice and together, okay? So our insert, I'm using basic white. You could use the same color as your box. All right, you could use another patterned paper. Either way, your insert is going to be 4.5 by 8.5. Okay, 4.5 by 8.5. And again, grab your score tool, okay, your scoreboard. And we are doing a series of scores, okay? So the first one is at 1 3/8, right? Because that's the depth of our bottom box. 1 3/8, then 2 1/4, 3 5/8, 4 7/8, 6 1/4, and 7 1/8. What this does, so if we work from the left to right, okay, we're gonna fold down and down, and then up, okay? So that creates a little insert here, okay? And then from the right side, again, you're gonna fold down, and then up. Okay, so what this does is creates this little funny little thing here, okay? When we take our box and we stick this inside it, look at that. We have a handy little insert that snugly holds our goodies, okay? So if you wanna make this extra secure, you can put a little bit of adhesive here on this center panel, okay, to glue it to the bottom of the box. You could even put a little bit of adhesive on the left and the far right panels and glue it to the sides. That would make sure that the insert does not move. I'm choosing not to do that for the sole reason that the people I'm gifting this to, if they want to reuse the box for something else, I like that you can take, you can remove the insert, okay? So by not gluing it down, it's removable. If you want to make it, just a little sturdier and more secure, go ahead and adhere the bottom and the left and right sides, okay? So we're ready to insert our mini bottles, our fun little goodies here. So putting in the little bottle of olive oil, all right? And because these are a little shorter than your typical shot bottles, I have room at the top for my limoncello candy, all right? If you were doing a regular little shot, a single shot, then that would take up the full length here, okay? All right, so this is the inside. Okay, you could always tie a little ribbon around your bottle or something if you want to dress it up a little bit. Okay, so we've got our bottle in there. We're ready to stick the top on. Okay. All right, all nice and secure. And now we are ready to begin decorating. Okay, so to decorate our box here, we are going to use your patterned paper of choice. Okay, again, your patterned paper is 4.5 by 10.5. And rather than give you score measurements, we are going to wrap this around and kind of press as we go. So determine which end, all right, you're gonna wanna make the bottom, okay? And you don't wanna adhere it to the box. You want this wrap, okay, to be able to slide off, okay? And then you can take out the box. So you don't want to glue the wrap to the box or it won't slide. They won't be able to open it, okay? But I am going to do this so that one of the ends, all right, so our seam is on the end, okay? So line that up and then just pinch it right there on the corner of the box, okay? And then continue to wrap tightly, okay? And then pinch it, okay? Pinch it around the box bottom, okay? All right, pinch the next side, just hold it secure, okay? And then pinch the top, okay? And that way it meets. All right, so now that we've got that pinched, what we're going to do is we're going to put some tear and tape on each end to hold this nice and secure. So on the left end here, we're going to put tear and tape on the top. Okay, and on the right side, we're gonna flip it over and put tear and tape on that side. What this does is then when we wrap the paper around, we just have a little extra security. So what happens is it goes like this, okay? So this tear and tape will adhere to this part and that outside edge will go. So you'll have just double extra tape all the way around it, okay? So gently remove your tear and tape, okay, from each end. Okay, and then we're gonna come back here to our box, okay. Again, carefully wrap as we go. Okay, I mean, you want it tight, you don't want it too tight. I actually think I cut my paper a little bit long. It's supposed to be 4.5 by 10.5. So let me just make sure, because I feel like my paper's a little bit too long. No, okay, I'm good. I must just be wrapping just a little bit too tight. Okay. Again. Okay. I'm gonna have to trim that off. So if you end up with a little bit excess, all right, then use your snips and trim that off. I've got some regular scissors, okay. Just trim that right off. But when I first did it, I didn't have any excess, so I'm not sure how that happened, all right? But your seam would be right there. All right, so whatever your seam is, just make that the bottom, okay? Okay. Now we're gonna take that piece. So when we created our box bottom, okay, we had trimmed off some of the cardstock, okay? So we ended up with a 1 1¼ inch strip. We had 1 1/4 by 8.5. All right, we are trimming that. So we 1 1/4, we're gonna trim that down to 5 3/4. So we have 1 1/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, 1 1/4. It's a little hard to fold that in half. So what I did is I just scored it right there. All right, and just fold it. Okay, so we're gonna, let me grab my score tool so I can show you. Okay, so we're 1 1/4. All right, and you want to score that right as close to the center as you can, okay? Because then by doing that, we can create a fold, all right, that essentially we're gonna double strengthen our handle, okay? You want that to be double folded there so that your handle is nice and secure, okay? And then take a piece of tear and tape and put that right down the center, okay, to hold that folded piece together. Okay. All right, now you're gonna take it on the 5 3/4 side, and we are going to score it at 1 and, let me see, excuse me. I have my measurements written down here, so I will post those too. Okay, for the handle, we are scoring first at 3/4 of an inch, 3/4, 1 1/2, okay? And then come over to 4 1/4 and 5, okay? So what this does, this center part here becomes our handle, okay? And that's the sides, and then so it folds like this so that we have a way to attach it to the top of our suitcase or our briefcase, or however you want to call that, okay? So we're gonna put some tear and tape on each end. All right, so just a little tear and tape on each end in order to hold this, adhere it to our suitcase. Okay, so we'll show you what we're doing here. Okay. Then remove that. Okay. If you feel you need to, you can use a couple little extra pieces of tear and tape there. All right, and you're going to adhere this to the center of, again, we're adhering this only to the designer paper because we want this to slide with our paper, okay? If you adhered it to the box itself, it's not going to, this isn't gonna slide, okay? So you want this to be able to slide, okay? All right, so there we've got our suitcase handle. Now, if you wanted to, you could embellish this. You could put a couple little embellishments on it. You know, like the little grommets or whatever you want to call them that are on your suitcase. Okay, you could even, if you're making this like a little briefcase, you could use some buttons or something to make it extra secure here. Okay. All right, just whatever you can think of, just add a little, you can add a little detail there if you like. I don't think I put any on this one. Oops. So again, just put a little decoration, a little finial or button there to hold your handle on your luggage, on your suitcase there. Okay. And then we want to decorate the front. Now I have seen some other tutorials where if you want to make more of a vintage style suitcase, you can use a 1 1/2 inch circle. All right, fold it into 4 corners and then adhere those little quarter circles, okay, to each corner of the designer paper to truly make it look like a vintage piece of luggage, okay? I'm choosing not to do that because, I don't know, luggage these days doesn't have that. And I'm going for, I guess, a more modern, all right, a little more trendy piece of luggage here. All right, so I'm not doing that extra little piece. Besides that, time is of the essence here. My craft day is tomorrow. and I need these to look super cute, but of course not take a ton of time. All right, so we're gonna go like this. All right, but we are going to decorate the front. Again, you could use whatever die cut, punch, little piece of decoration that you want. All right, I am choosing to use, when we cut the inserts for the bottles, okay? When we cut the inserts, our basic white was 4.5 by 8.5. So we ended up with some leftover strip of cardstock that was 2 inches, 2 inches long, okay? Which is, is perfect for the bright borders stamp set and punch. And the reason I wanted to use this is I thought I liked the little decoration, okay? And I thought the little leaves, kind of little leaves and flowers, mimicked the design here on our Mediterranean Blooms paper. Okay, so that's why I'm using this. And since these are little favors, I'm going to use the thank you. All right, but we've got cute little options. So what I have done is I've used the finial with the little leaves, and I laid it out here on my glass mat so that I could put my thank you on there too. So now I'm only have to stamp this once, and it's all ready to go. So I'm going to stamp with some garden green ink. All right. And like I said, it's perfect. Photopolymer is great when you can line everything up, and only have to stamp once. Okay. And look how nicely that turns out. Okay, so we're going to come in here with our punch. Now this particular punch is part of a bundle. Okay, so let me show you. This is a new punch. And where did it go? Okay, here it is. This is called To The Point Label Punch. It is bundled with the Hugs for Love stamp set. All right, that's on page 54 of the mini. However, the stamp set that I used is called Bright Borders. All right, so it's the coordinating punch. So this punch has 2 stamp sets that coordinate with it, okay? And this one's on page 58. Okay, so we're gonna take our punch, insert this. So again, this paper was 1.5 inches. That's the perfect height here for the punch. 1.5. All right, whoops, come in here and just pop that out, okay? Add a couple of dimensionals to it. And again, if you have trouble getting those dimensional backings off, you can do that same thing. You can peel them off with take your pick tool there. That works great. Okay. All right, and let's see, that looks like that's the back. Okay, so I'm gonna do this as the front. All right, adhere this right to the center of our box. All right, and it's ready to go. If you wanted to die cut some extra little leaves or something, you could do some little leaves coming out from behind. You could even create an extra little tag if you wanted to. But I think this looks super cute like that. Okay, again, this is the mini suitcase luggage style gift box for mini bottles of whatever your little choice. Okay, so the suitcase part slides off, and then we have our super sturdy gift box inside. Whether you're using little bottles of olive oil and some candies, or you're putting some little candies down the center, or a mini shot of your favorite liqueur. All right, I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. All right, let me know if you have any questions at all. I will put some of those measurements in the video description. All right, and then you do have to be a little bit careful, but it will slide back on here. Okay. There we go. Okay. You just have to work it just a little bit. All right, and then it slides right on, and there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, definitely give me that thumbs up, like, subscribe to my Jess B Creative Cardiology channel. All right, and as we're entering February here, today is January 31st. All right, so we've wrapped up 1 month of Stampin' Up's 2025 celebration, which means free product for each $60 purchase. All right, we have 1 month left, okay? February is it. We are 1 month into our brand new mini catalog as well. So again, check those out. If you'd like to place an order and support my channel, go ahead. That is my host code to associate your order with me as your demonstrator. I can send you my free tutorials and goodies for the month. All right, well, I hope you again enjoyed my little mini suitcase luggage style gift box. And I can't wait to hear what fun goodies you put in it and what you use it for. So thank you so much. Happy stamping. Have a great weekend. And I look forward to stamping with you soon. Oh, God, I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying that. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Mary. All right, hello to my hubby watching from the office. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.